Depression is another thing. Negative thoughts, more simple. We can look at it in a very logical fashion. We have overloads of experience throughout our lifetime. Some perceptual overloads, some emotional overloads, some fatigue overloads, and every time our sensory apparatus is overloaded, then we're in a situation where there's a demand on us to respond to, and either we can react or we can interact. If we have a lot of accumulated stress in the first place, then when the demand is made on us, instead of interacting with that demand with an abundance of inner creativity and intelligence and energy, we end up reacting to the demand. And this kind of reaction is known as the fight-flight response. This is the stress response that is so famous. Stress response is there for adaptive reasons. It's not that it's bad. It's just there to save us from tiger attacks and other situations where literally having an adrenaline-filled body will perhaps yield survival. So a stress response is within the human repertoire and it's supposed to be there. But the problem is that when we have a stress reaction, and we have it many times, and we accumulate memory in the cells of stress reactivity, we end up having a hair trigger on our stress reactivity. Accumulated stress creates a situation where a lesser demand will get us to respond stressfully again, and even for longer. And so then we end up having multiple stress reactions in a given day when faced with demands that don't actually warrant stress reactivity. Now, in that negative thought scenario, what's happening is that we have reflective moments. Anytime we have reflective moments, we have a moment of restfulness. And in that restfulness, our body starts trying to marshal its self-repair mechanisms to unstress the stresses that we have accumulated. And physiologically, these stresses begin to be dissolved. Stress is stored in a chemical format in the body. It's memory driven into the cells and stored chemically. And what happens when we start to release the stress? We also begin to release some of the toxic chemistry of the stress back into and recirculate that in the system. And this physiological change has a mental counterpart. The brain becomes provoked by the unstressing process during reflective moments. And what happens is we start to get the product, the epiphenomenon, the artifact, the after effect of the unwinding of that stress. So now when we learn Vedic meditation, what we're doing is we're sitting easily, comfortably for about 20 minutes, relaxedly in a chair. We have our eyes closed, and we're making use of a particular kind of mantra. These are individualized mantras that we use in Vedic meditation, which you learn from a qualified teacher of Vedic meditation. There's a mantra that works best for each person. And so then, having learned your correct mantra, you learn how to think it effortlessly. And then thinking the mantra effortlessly during the meditation process, the mind settles down using the mantra as a mind vehicle. Mind vehicle is in fact what the word mantra means. Man in Sanskrit, the ancient language of India, is mind, man. Tra is a conveyance or a vehicle, a mind conveyance, something that conveys the mind from one place to another. We're moving from thinking into the underlying subtler consciousness states and arriving at the bliss of being. Being is the place beyond the mantra, beyond the thoughts, that underlying field of pure inner happiness. Meditation doesn't create it. Meditation reveals it. Vedic meditation peels away the layers of excitation, and the mind is able to experience that sublime, deep, inner, pure, supreme contentedness, bliss. Anytime we have a mental experience, there's chemical change in the body. If you have an angry thought, your body will be measurably filled with angry chemicals within minutes. If you have a sad thought, likewise, sad body, sad chemistry in the body. If you have a frightened thought, then you'll have the body of fear within minutes. When you have the experience during Vedic meditation of the bliss state, then you get a body that's filled with bliss chemistry. The process of Vedic meditation releases the accumulated stresses that have been accumulating for a lifetime. And this constant peeling away of the layers of stress in the body liberates the body from the detrimental effect of accumulated stress, and it allows the mind, therefore, to be free of the impact of those same stresses. Then when you have reflective moments, you practice Vedic meditation for 20 minutes in the morning and you practice it for 20 minutes in the evening, that's the laundry, that's the washing machine, that's the thing that cleans all the stresses out and gets you to the bliss state. When you have your reflective moments, your mind is liberated simply to be swimming in the ocean of creative intelligence, instead of being constrained and coerced into thought patterns that are repetitive, that are the negative artifacts of stress release. You get your stress release done during meditation, morning and evening, then you don't have to release stress at other inconvenient times. So this has to do with, dropping the level of the pressure of negative thought that occurs in the waking mind, and very effective. As regards depression, this is a separate matter. Depression is a very serious condition, which properly requires diagnosis from a qualified medical practitioner, and should not be dealt with just independently on one's own. Certainly Vedic meditation helps, because we know that accumulation of stress is bad for any kind of human condition. If you have a common cold and you are stressed, your common cold is going to be a lot worse. If you have cancer and you are stressed, your cancer is going to have a broader range of negative symptoms for you. And so getting stressed doesn't help any state. Being stressed adds additional negative impact into a state of depression. But depression needs to be dealt with by someone who is a qualified medical practitioner and who can give assistance, advice, and perhaps even prescriptions that will help to deal with it, to adjust the brain chemistry. But as we continue reducing the level of stress that we have through regular practice of Vedic meditation, we should find that even the depressed state becomes more light, less depressing. And meditators report that over a period of months and perhaps sometimes years, they're able to experience their depression lifting off completely. This is not going to be, you shouldn't expect that this is going to happen purely from Vedic meditation. Vedic meditation will be an adjunct therapy that can be used in coordination with a medical practitioner to help to bring depression to an end.